Since the Kabylia demonstrations which took place during 2001, the socio-economic situation is far from improving, and young people no longer seem to believe in the future of their country. We're drowning in misery here. I'm about to go home now, and it's possible there won't even be anything to eat. Not for me, not for my family. And it's the same for everyone here. It affects all of us. A young man reaches a certain age, 30 let's say. That should be time to work, right? Well, here in Algeria, a 30-year-old is already retired. It's the end of the world. It truly is. There is growing marginalization of the region. In Kabylia, many people are tired of the situation in which they live. Unemployment affects a large part of the population, and young people are particularly victims of this very degraded economic and social situation. Prostitution, alcoholism, suicide, emigration, and religious extremism are increasingly visible scourges, and are very painfully experienced by a population which suffers this tragedy day by day. This is all the more difficult for the Kabyles because, in the majority of cases, the authorities turn a blind eye to what is happening in the region. Increasingly, the Kabyle population looks abroad for support, and many prefer to leave the country, according to an old migratory tradition. Emigration continues, and even accelerates, given that it has become the preferred escape for young people. More broadly, growing numbers of Algerians are now turning to illegal immigration. Many Algerians, mostly young men, are trying to leave their country, without passports or visas, on boats, risking their lives at sea. In the Maghreb dialect, we call these candidates for immigration haragan, the burners, because they burn the steps necessary for legal migration. Furthermore, if they arrive in Europe, they burn their identity papers to try to escape deportation. For many of these young men, it's not about making a living. A lot of them actually have jobs here in Algeria. It's psychological. They're mentally exhausted. It's also about resentment, jealousy. As long as things don't change in Algeria, this wave of illegal immigration will continue. We, the families of these young people who left by boat, we are devastated. Only God understands our pain, especially the parents. These young people don't think of their families anymore. Psychologically, they've had enough. No one knows what we feel except us, the parents, the families. A father whose son left by sea, he thinks about him all day. When he eats, he thinks of him. When he goes for a walk, he thinks of him. When a student graduates from university, he can't find a job. No matter how hard he looks, there's nothing. So in his mind, there's only one thought left. That's all they have left. That sea. It's their only hope. And we all know this sea. Sometimes it carries you to the other side. Other times it doesn't. We, the families of these young people, we don't know where they are, whether they're dead, alive, or in prison. Everyone tells us something different. Some say they're alive, others say they're dead. May God protect them. If they're alive, may they return safe and sound. If they're gone, may God in His mercy welcome them into paradise, and may He give strength to their parents. If they're gone, we would at least like to recover their bodies, because in the state we're living in, it feels like every day is a funeral. And it's the mothers who suffer most. When you come home, you don't even know what to say to your parents. Since the 1980s, each decade in Algeria seems to produce its own emblematic figure of youthful despair. In the 1980s, it was the hetist, that is, the wall huggers, unemployed young men leaning against walls, symbolizing an idle and marginalized youth. In the 1990s, many similarly disillusioned young people joined armed Islamist groups. Then, in the 2000s, it was the haragan, clandestine migrants willing to risk their lives at sea, who came to embody this enduring distress. Each of these figures reflect the country's deep-rooted dysfunctions. Created in the aftermath of the 2001 Black Spring, the movement for the self-determination of Kabylia, better known as the MAC, emerged as a political response to long-standing state violence, cultural marginalization, and the denial of Kabyle identity. Founded by Farhat Mehni, a prominent Kabyle singer and activist, the MAC advocates for the Kabyle people's right to self-determination. The organization calls for a referendum that would allow the Kabyle people to freely and democratically decide their own political future. Despite the absence of any confirmed violent acts attributed to it, the Algerian government has labeled the MAC a terrorist organization in 2021. Activists affiliated with the movement have faced arbitrary arrests, harassment, and heavy prison sentences, often under vague charges related to national security. Tensions intensified following the devastating wildfires in Kabylia during the summer of 2021, which killed dozens and displaced thousands. While the state quickly blamed the MAC for orchestrating the fires and the lynching of Jamal bin Ismail, an innocent man wrongly accused of arson, many Kabyles expressed deep mistrust. Video footage shows that it was the police who handed bin Ismail over to the mob, raising serious suspicions of deliberate state involvement in his death. As for the fires themselves, many within the Kabyle population suspect state complicity, or at the very least, gross negligence, pointing to the slow and disorganized emergency response. This climate of mistrust is rooted in a broader political awakening seen during the 2019 Hirak protests, a nationwide peaceful uprising that began in opposition to President Bouteflika's projected fifth term, and quickly grew into a sustained movement against authoritarianism and systemic corruption. Algeria, an independent country since 1962, has experienced very little political stability. From the advent of independence, Algeria was confronted with constant political upheavals marked by serious historical events. Coup d'etat perpetrated by Houari Boumediene in 1965, demonstrations of the Berber Spring of 1980 in Tizi Ouzou, demonstrations in 1988 in Algiers, the advent of multipartyism in 1990, which plunged Algeria in a 10-year period of terrorism up until the 2000s. Political instability and social issues are closely linked in Algeria. These issues raise numerous debates regularly turning into conflict. These debates raised by the society in terms of identity, citizenship, institutions, state symbols, and mode of governance resurface in the mobilization movements experienced by Algeria, and more particularly Kabylia. This region is often regarded as the aggressor of the nation. This idea, which is exploited by the authorities, has become anchored in the collective Algerian imagination, and it has persisted since French colonization. For decades, Kabyle mobilization has been misrepresented as foreign agitation aimed at destabilizing Algeria. These harmful ideas are not only false, they spread confusion and fuel stereotypes. In reality, Kabylia, increasingly marginalized, has often mobilized to challenge the dismal socioeconomic context in which it lives and the non-respect of individual rights in the whole of Algeria.